Welcome to the podcast recording of Middle East AI News Live for Thursday, October 26, 2023, brought to you by Carrington Malin, Marketing for an AI-First World. You're listening to my discussion with Amine Staali, CEO of DeepMinds, MENA's first deep tech venture studio, which has just emerged from stealth mode. I talk with Amine about deep tech in MENA, how things are changing, and what DeepMinds brings to deep tech.
So let's get down to business. In today's Middle East AI News Live, we're going to be talking about deep tech. Why is there so little deep tech in the region? Why it's important? And how might the region's governments, investors, and technology ecosystems go about creating more of it? First of all, deep tech isn't a precise term, so there's always a matter of debate of what deep tech is and what deep tech isn't. It usually refers to the hard-to-develop products or components or inventions that take significant amount of expertise, time, and resources. Cutting-edge AI, advanced materials, blockchain, biotechnology, robotics, drones, photonics, quantum computing, these are all deep tech. In contrast, shallow tech advances are relatively easy to make, copy, and commercialize. So to use an AI example, OpenAI's development of ChatGPT was deep tech. Leveraging ChatGPT's APIs to create new business and consumer apps is shallow tech. I'm now going to be joined shortly by Amine Staali, founder and CEO of DeepMinds, MENA's first deep tech venture studio. Amine is a serial entrepreneur with a long track record in establishing new startups, his latest being DeepMinds, which has developed a model to shape, fund, and grow deep tech ventures. He launched ProvenMed 7 years ago in the UAE, a medical devices company with worldwide patented products, which now exports globally from the UAE. And as a long-time entrepreneur, Amine has a wealth of experience in R&D, product development, taking new concepts to market, scaling up ventures, and of course, fundraising. And he also has a knack of zeroing in on purpose-driven ventures that have the potential to make a tangible impact, both on society and the bottom line. So a warm welcome to Middle East AI News Live, Amine Staali.
Hi, Carrington.
Hi.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Thanks very much for making the time to join us and to talk about deep tech in the Middle East and North Africa. Now, DeepMinds was formed earlier this year as a deep tech venture studio to connect developers of new technology with opportunities, resources, and funding, and to create new successful MENA deep tech ventures. Headquartered out of Abu Dhabi Global Market with offices in Canada and South Korea, DeepMinds set out to be a decentralized operation, identifying and creating growing deep tech ventures throughout the region according to local and regional needs. Deep tech in the Middle East and North Africa has long been underserved, it must be said, lacking knowledge, lacking investment, the right ecosystems and incentives for deep tech ventures to succeed. DeepMinds Deep Tech Venture Studio aims to solve some of these issues, bringing together knowledgeable technology, business advisors to validate new concepts and connect them to opportunities, technology, resources, and the funding they need to succeed. So absolutely brilliant to have you here, Amine, and to get you to tell us about deep tech in the region and DeepMinds. Let's begin by talking about what deep tech is and the region's deep tech story so far. So can I just ask you, what is deep tech and what deep tech do we already have in the MENA region?
Sure. Thank you, Carrington, first of all, for having me in your show. It's a real pleasure to participate and try to spread more knowledge and awareness of what we are doing. So we start with deep tech. Deep tech is a deep tech venture is any startup, as you well described it, any startup and innovation company that is based on substantial scientific research and engineering kind of tools with underlying asset of an IP. So any venture that has those specifics, it's a deep tech. And as you explained, deep tech can create and can generate many shallow ventures as derivatives because it's a catalyzer to a new function, a new industry, or a new kind of technology.
Absolutely. But there seems to be, and talking from experience being here quite a long time, quite a low appetite among investors to invest in deep tech in this region.
Yeah, that's normal due to the amount of R&D in the region. So deep tech ventures are relevant to the amount of R&D done already. So the source of deep tech is the R&D. You have more R&D going on, so you have more potential to commercialize it and convert it into deep tech ventures. However, recently we saw a lot of important programs in the region in terms of pushing R&D. And that's where we DeepMinds want to play a role to boost that and to bring more valuable deep tech ventures into the landscape and do more.
It's quite an exciting time, I think, for deep tech in the region, because we have seen an increase in focus in the UAE, in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia. It's obviously a focus for King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia. It's also a focus for Saudi Aramco and its venture arm Wahid Ventures. So the signs are very good, aren't they?
Yeah, look, the whole region driven by Saudi Arabia and we're moving to a different era and a different kind of milestones. So things are moving faster and we need to keep up with that pace. So you see what's announcement of important projects in our region. And in DeepMinds, we want to support that and we want to go with that wave and build more and materialize more ventures because at the end of the day, it's all about ecosystem building.
Yeah, we've seen the startup sphere in the region grow massively over the last 10 years. We've seen it diversify, new programs created for different industry sectors, an increased number of and diversification of Cs and what they're prepared to invest in. But it all seems to be very focused on shallow tech, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's also carried on, it's a start of it. So you cannot start ecosystem. Our ecosystem, entrepreneurship ecosystem started maybe 10, 15 years ago. So, you can't expect deep tech to start from day one. So what happened so far, it's really amazing. Now we're looking to the next level. Our young people, if you ask them 15 years ago, they, wouldn't think of starting a venture. But today, the number of young people want to really jump into venturing and startups, it's quite big. And the region is full of young people. We got all what we need to move to the next level.
Yeah, that's what I've really noticed myself is that not so very long ago, technology was a job that you got in a government department where you didn't have to work very hard. And now
Yeah.
lots of young people who are looking at creating their own technology ventures and innovating and R&D and really lots of exciting prospects. So, I mean, before we talk about DeepMinds and the offering you put together, let's talk a little bit about how you came up with the concept for launching DeepMinds DeepTech Venture Studio and your own experiences that helped shape that. Because I know that that's an interesting story there.
Yeah, definitely. So it all started by the making of many ventures, but specifically Proven Mad, which is the medtech company that I have been building with my co-founders Suhail and my amazing team. So in Proven Mad, we have gone through all the process of how to build a deep tech technology and how to make it work and how to commercialize it. So we have gone against all the odds, coming up from an idea into a patented product, FDA approved, and selling worldwide and building a strong commercial or strong distribution channels in a very difficult industry. Usually this industry, it's the other way around. So we buy all those technologies from other regions, but we never make them. And that's
Yeah.
the story, like the story. So when I started with Suhail, both of us, we were in a position where we know that our ecosystem is not ready for that. So it takes a long time to make a prototype and test it. And then it takes more than needed to convince to have, let's say, a hospital test or even, I don't talk about funding. That's another thing. That's another level because if the ecosystem is not ready for that, definitely the investors are not ready for that. So investors usually move with the trend, with the let's say with the price is high in those trendy stuff, as you mentioned in the beginning, the copy paste, which makes a lot of sense from investment point of view because many people do it. So it's a wave of investments. When it comes to deep tech building, investors are really, they're driven by fear, but not driven by hope. And the fundamental structure of a deep tech from a risk point of view, it has a lot of risk in the beginning from a technical risk. However, the commercial risk is very, very low. The moment you build it and the moment you have it and it works, then the market risk is very low compared to the other kind of ventures. So the
Great
story
point.
was, story was we faced all those challenges and, together we have never stopped. We kept trying. I give you just a number. For example, from a prototyping point of view, we made 13 prototypes, and all are funded, by ourselves. And the number 14 worked. So, if you don't have if you don't have patience and a belief to reach to that level, and maybe you stop in prototype number 2, 3, 4, depends on the spirit. But we knew that, there was a problem and we knew that we need to fix it regardless the odds, and it worked. It got fixed, and then the commercialization made what Proven Med is today. So through that story, we learned a lot, and we have seen what it takes to come up to something commercialized that can grow worldwide. And then we thought, why not bring this expertise and then inspiring others? There are many others, young people, that they have great ideas, but they cannot jump in because of that, because they're afraid, because they say, how others they didn't do, who am I to do it? So we wanted to push those people and give them that platform to do it. Just go and do it. But we don't want them to go through all those years of struggling. So that's why we're bringing together a validation engine, a technical validation engine, gurus of different deep tech expertise, different sectors together in one unit, and making, very strong validation and orientation in terms of what works and what's difficult to work today in our region. So the story was what got all, inspired from that experience.
It's a great story. And I personally know several health techs from sort of 10, 15 years ago who tried to develop here in the region, who found the ecosystem difficult to deal with, and the willingness of healthcare institutions not being there to allow them to trial. And so they left the region. I think we've moved on from that because there's so many things that have changed. And it's great. We've got Proven Med as an example to show that it is possible. Can you just explain what Proven Med is and how you got to develop that within the ecosystem that we have?
Yes. So the story of Proven Med started when a friend of ours was lost he disappeared from the social circles. And when we checked on him, we found that he had prostate cancer. And subsequent to that, he got a problem called urinary incontinence. He couldn't handle, bladder control. He lost the bladder control. And then he got stuck at home. So he was depressed. He couldn't do anything. So he cannot go outside with a diaper. So, we tried to help him by getting him many products, from East and West, but nothing helped him. Nothing works for him. And then we decided to make a solution for him. So if the solution is not there, let's make it. So it's not easy to develop a wearable device that manage a chronic problem and then empower a person and make him more mobile and free to go with the confidence. That was not an easy objective, but the empathy was there, the compassion was there, and the technical expertise was there as well. So the R&D expertise and all that stuff, they came together. And then the spirit was there, and most importantly, the spirit. So the spirit was there. And then by keep trying and making that product from the mind of the patient, not from our mind. And then we came up with what we branded Active Go. It's a registered branded product that is selling in many countries worldwide. And that wearable device replaces all those diapers and catheters and makes the patients confident, clean, hygienically, they much better and avoid infections. And that once we commercialize that product, we move other products. Today, we're building a wellness platform that uses ActiveGo and many other products as a host to test, to read and monitor, data and send it to doctors so that we keep helping our elderly people and our people who have chronic diseases and prevent issues. So we're converting into that using remote diagnosis tools to prevent issues. So this is how ProvenMed started, and that was for me, and for the team a long learning curve where we discovered our potentials, where we tested really the odds, and then we know that we can make a lot. We can make more than we think, and that's what we want to pass to the generation here in the region. You got what you need to go to the next level. If there is a problem, you can really solve it in a different way, and you don't need to worry about how to make it. But if you have that willingness to fail, definitely you're going to succeed. And then we're here to support you to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'd like to do is let's just touch on some of the challenges that deep tech ventures face in the region, and just to drill down on a few big ones. So funding is a very obvious one, and there's a affinity with a lot of tech VCs that they would rather invest in e-commerce or logistics or consumer apps than go into, say, biotech or advanced materials or something more complicated. How much of that do you think is just a point in time where we're getting to that? And how much of that do you think is a gap in the knowledge in that investor community here?
There is a big gap in the validation side. So from the experience point of view, many venture capitals, they like the story, they love the story, but they just give you good notes and then they move ahead, they move away because they say that we don't have the validation, we don't have the people, the experts to validate what you're doing. And then that's what we want to bridge from DeepMinds. We brought gurus in different technologies to build that validation, objective validation from technology point of view. And then, of course, from a business model point of view, together they come and they give that validation, which we will embed it in our venture capital that will be launched soon, inshallah. So in that, we bridge, that validation, technical expertise point of view. But appetite is there. We can see what's going on. It's led by the governments. The government, they know very well, Saudi, UAE, they know that deep technology investments, the R&D is the one that creates sustainable growth in the economy. And they are moving with really interesting projects. So we can see some things moving, and I expect more players to jump in.
Yeah, I think you're right. And in the course of setting up ProvenMed, do you encounter challenges with dealing with the ecosystem, with finding partners to work with opening doors?
Look, from the entrepreneurship point of view, there was a great support in the UAE. We have to mention that because we started at the time where the ecosystem started crystallizing. So there were really interesting accelerators, incubators, and they did a great job. And I think all what you see today in the market, it's a result of that support, and it's going beyond that. So we got a lot of support in UAE, in Saudi, even outside the region, even in South Korea. We participated in South Korea competition and we got the first prize, and we got a lot of support from them as well. So ecosystem now, it's moving from that generic, it needs to move from a generic acceleration programs and incubation into specific. So now we need to see more customized, specialized incubators in different sectors, be it biotech, medtech, and all the rest. And that's what will create the next generation of specialty ventures. And they push everything, it push it to the next level.
The good news is that process has already started. And I think it's probably fair to say also that public and private organizations are now a lot more open to collaboration with startups than they were, say, 10 years ago. And they also perhaps got more to offer in a lot of the big organizations have been through digital transformation and data transformation programs. They have, in a lot of cases, innovation managers whose job it is to go out and engage with people who have interesting ideas. I think in some respects, it is getting a lot more friendly for new startups.
Definitely, definitely. We need to look at it from a different level, Carrington. So this is a call for all those founders or the people who want to start their businesses and that they want to do something. So now we are completely in a different era. What's been done from the government level, it's amazing, and they're going to keep doing more. So, and from a leadership point of view, they are having, I mean, we have a vision in the region. We have a clear vision. We are moving into a completely different situation and a different era. But now we need, that is done from the top level. We need the bottom. We need to build from the bottom. So those people down there, they need also to be in line with this. So, unleash your thoughts, and you need to push your beliefs and move and do things. So if you don't, things happening from the top and from the bottom, and then things started getting bigger. So to the message to all those young people and people who have some ideas and R&D going on, or they have something inside their brains, they want to make it, just you need to do it and push and ask for help. There are a lot of doors in the region. You need to look at those doors and start. If you start, things will happen. And then we need to be aligned with the leadership vision and support that and make it happen.
Yeah, I think there's just so much change in the region. I personally find it very hard to track. There's a few things that stand out. One of them is that we had a very low R&D output in the different countries in the region. And secondly, we had a huge deficit in skills to the point where there was just brain drain. I mean, anybody smart who was interested in developing new technologies went to the US or to Europe to go and do that. They didn't do that here. Now with the mandate from governments around the region, and notably Saudi Arabia and the UAE, to create IP at home, to manufacture at home, to create R&D projects at home, with obviously the resources and the money and the support to do that. It's a huge change.
It is definitely, indeed, it's a huge change, and it's the right change to have. So today we are moving into building rather than acquiring and buying, and that building and making takes time. However, it has to start. It has already started. It started, and imagine how much potential we have. Imagine if we select only one sector and look at how much we can localize, even a fraction of that sector, how many ventures we can create, how many jobs we can create, and how many skills we can bring to the region. And that's the essence of DeepMinds, by the way, Carrington. So in DeepMinds, we take localization and IP transfer and IP creation as a core. So we don't invest in any venture that just make money, but we invest in a venture that localize a solid technology from IP point of view and from sustainable commercialization point of view. And that what we believe, if you look at our current group of companies and cohort, you find we're building the enabling units to make sure that we can create more and more and turn those to clusters. So we are clusters driven, IP clusters, localization driven. So anything that empower and help in creating cluster, we jump on it immediately.
Makes a lot of sense. So tell us a little bit about the current cohorts at DeepMinds and how you went about, choosing those and the potential.
Definitely. So when you look at the cohorts, the current cohort, it contains truly enabling ventures when it comes to the process of making any deep tech venture and commercialize it. So be it from the R&D and then IP and then engineering and then commercialization. So we start with the R&D. So we build up with Stack, which is a platform that scout for ready to commercialize R&Ds. We don't want to start from scratch in the region. We want to catalyze things and start moving faster. So we Stack scouts and brings from its partners in South Korea and Canada ready R&D projects that can be commercialized, close to be commercialized, and then help and bring the right process, right validation to take those projects and make them in the region in collaboration with also some R&D partners in the region. And then we move to creating the IP pad, which makes creating IP an easy and a simple journey. And IP in our region also it's in the verge. It started picking up and we want to push it as much as we can. IP is always linked to R&D. So for example, when we look at to give an example, in South Korea, 45 million people, they deliver more than 200,000 IPs in a year, ranked as number 3 in the world. And that's a result of a lot of R&D spent decades ago. And when you look at that amount of IP, secures a lot of growth, potential growth and sustainable growth. So we're gonna IP pad help our region here and the partners to make IP easy to start, choose the right IP strategy, invest less and get more. So that's part of the process. Then we moved also to Headquartered, which is a very important stone in our offerings. Headquartered has vetted partners from a manufacturing and prototyping point of view, very, very well established partners in a couple of countries, including not limited to South Korea, China, and other countries, where we actually take a prototype from zero to a functional prototype in a very, very short time and with a very transparent journey. Plus, we also do the manufacturing. Anybody launching his product, he doesn't need to start, a factory. We do for him all the manufacturing. And once the product reaches to a level where it can be localized, we do the whole localization in the region, be it UAE, Saudi, any place that has the potential to set up the unit. And then we move to another unit or another venture, which is RDoc. So we take seriously the strategic ventures in the region. And we focus on those industries. We focus on industries like shipbuilding that many people, they don't know about, but this is a strategic sector in the region. So RDoc came there to create that digital expert kind of dock that connects all the shipbuilders around the world into the local players, and they participate in repairing and building ships in the region. And that's a very strategic sector. And moving to the commercialization from the MedTech point of view. So ProvenMed has established already a distribution channel, which is at the disposal of any product we launch, any venture we launch. We don't need to go and create from scratch. We got already a very important distribution channel where we can only add products and solutions and move to the market. So that's for the commercialization point of view.
So let's look at it from the other way around for a moment, because I know that you're putting together a new cohort. If I'm a researcher or an entrepreneur, or I have the beginning as a venture, how can I benefit from DeepMinds?
Yeah. So currently, Carrington, we are fully focusing on our internal venture building. We got already a plan for ventures that are inspired from the real needs. As we say, we look at the international global trends, but we focus on the local priorities and needs. So we went to the market that we know very well. So we touched the healthcare market, medtech and healthcare, and the shipbuilding and even defense and renewable energy. These sectors, they are in the verge into localizing. It's happening already. A lot of offset and offtake opportunities. So we digged into those markets and we found the needs, and then now we are launching ventures to fill those needs and create clusters. However, this is our first phase. Second phase, we're going to open participation we open our door to the founders that have deep tech R&D or concepts that can fit in these areas where we can, open up for them. They submit their papers, and then we do the validation process, and we can invite them to see how we can work together. At the end of the day, so it's all about building those ventures in collaboration with founders and R&D partners, launching them in the market with a full operations and a full package that covered by DeepMinds. So the founders, they don't need to worry about the operations, fundraising, recruitment, and all that stuff. So all that is covered in our shared platform in terms of resources, and we enable founders to focus on the product and build that obsession in terms of satisfying the customers.
Right. If I come to you and it fits with your strategy and it's in an area that your team can help with, what's the process likely to be for me in working with you, and how would you help me?
So once we have the technical and the business model validation come up, we know that there is a fit into industry, and this is the best way to do it. We propose a partnership where we come in the venture as a co-founder. We are builders. We build ourselves. We have team that build, and then we take care of the if it depends on the stage of the venture. If it's in our research, we look at shortcuts to move ahead and commercialize that product or that technology. We take care of the fundraising, so we take care from our department of fundraising until we reach to the next level. The next level will be taken over with participants, investors, or our own VC when it's launched. So this is when external venture or founder or researcher comes to us. Pretty simple. Now, sometimes there is already an established or a venture that exists. We take if there is a venture that exists in the market, but yet they're not able to commercializing the solution quickly. We take a look on it as well if it fits in the ecosystem and it provides a cross-selling value to all our ecosystem. We jump on it from acquiring point of view. So we acquire a percentage from the venture, and we put our resources against that. I mean, as a contribution, and we move that venture into our ecosystem with the wholesale support of our ecosystem, and make it more quicker to be commercialized. So it's a win-win for both. For us, we want to grow ecosystem quickly, and for the founders and researchers, they join a well-rounded team in all the area of launching a venture, whether it's technical or commercial or financial. So we will be acting as co-founders, but not just investors or incubators. We do full job to make sure that venture will have place in the region and expand later on.
I'm going to come on to a question from Tin Radburn from Australia in a minute. First, I'd like to ask a follow-up question, because I know that from our conversations in the past and this one, you're very focused on making things work in the ecosystem. And you study the industrial ecosystems in order to find a product fit. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. When we looked at the market, Carrington, we found there is already a market. The market is there. We got huge market. But when you look at this market, for example, let's take the healthcare. When you look at the healthcare, how much it buys, from outside the region, it's an astronomical number, a huge number. And all that number is buying almost everything from what we need, healthcare. Now, we jump into that, and then we look at what can be localized. But when you say here localized, I don't just mean assembly. So it's not just a matter of assembly. We're not creating the assembly process, which I call it. I mean, I think it's not a tech transfer. It's a fake tech transfer. So the real tech transfer is where we develop components, not we assemble, a couple of components together. No, we want to develop components. And by developing components, we definitely need to secure the IP that we use in our region. And that will bring to us a valuable participation in that product that maybe exists, but we at least have the mastery of that component, and all stuck by components. So instead of launching ventures that brings full products. No, we focus more into bringing ventures that brings components. And those components will be brick at building a cluster. So be it in a healthcare or in a shipbuilding or in a renewable energy, that will push over creating clusters where later there will be a lot of cross-selling in between those ventures. So we take components approach very seriously, and we also have our framework of tech transfer. We know how to talk the tech transfer legality point of view, and then that also creates the local players. So we go to the local players. There is a big chunk of SMEs in the region which is not put in the calculation. When we talk about innovation, we our mind goes right away to disruption, and that disruption sometimes it's not linked to the market. So they need to create a whole new market to commercialize. But in our case, we already have a market. Since we have a market, so we go to that fraction to be localized. We go to the local players, SMEs, and we pull them and we involve them in the work. So you could expect that we launch a venture which is based on an IP secure technology and a work in R&D and in partnership with an SME in the marketing industry. That will form a kind of collaborative kind of organism that start commercializing immediately, start building talent immediately, and we can see the fruits right away in the ecosystem. So that's the way we look at venturing and deep tech ventures in the region. And we believe that's the missing point or the missing kind of, thing that can build quicker those clusters.
That makes tremendous sense to me. I don't think we talk enough about development and manufacturer components in this region. It is so often that we're talking about the whole product and bringing a whole product out of nowhere to market. But then, of course, all the components end up coming from China or, from elsewhere in the world. I'm just going to switch to Tim Radburn, who has a question. Tim, good evening.
Hi, Amine. Hi, Carrington. Listen, I won't take up too much of your time with the question. I'll stick to what you're talking about in the topic. I just want to clarify, are you also defining, but given that we're talking about deep tech and regards to the components, am I right in also assuming that various components of deep tech are now classified in various manufacturing industrial industries as components? So what my company are focusing on, due to the large focus areas of healthcare, automation, logistics, aviation, etc., as you described, automation for us and the robotics and everything surrounding it is appearing to be a component. So that's what we're trying to master, the componentry of automation, machine learning, etc., to fit into the industrial manufacturing piece. Does that make sense?
I fully agree with you, Tim. It's an enabling component, and that what you guys are doing, it's what we look for, because that's the thing that can enable other ventures to launch, other products to be built, other businesses to be optimized, and that's what makes sense for us from a cluster point of view. So your business can be localized here, and it can be the unit that can really catalyze many other ventures and create those clusters.
Yeah, great. Now, it's really pleasing for me to hear, AI, for want of a better term, to be creating such new markets, new commerce chains, new value propositions for founders and entrepreneurs in a non-tangible componentry sector. I really love it. Well, my company, we're really enjoying this space.
Fantastic. I would love to dig further on what you guys do, maybe later on, and let's keep the conversation.
Thanks, Amine. Thanks, Carrington.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Now, a powerful proposition, Amine, and the thinking behind it, I think, is as important as the expertise that you have to offer. But obviously, this is not magic, and you can't wave a wand and have everything change overnight. So given that it's a developing market with a lot of change, a lot of opportunity, what are the things as a startup founder that are still going to remain a challenge, for me, even with your help and advice?
Definitely. Look, Carrington, if, in our business, if people are not willing to fail they already fail. They will never stand up. So the willingness to fail is the beginning of everything. And if you don't keep trying, and if you don't keep trying to find the right way and right path to achieve your objective, then, the passage through those failing moments is a must. Now, our job is to reduce those failing moments. So there are failing in the technical aspect, there are failing in the commercialization, failing in selecting, building the team. All those bricks and components are super important in launching a successful venture. But the one thing that drives everything is the grit, is the belief, is the spirit. Now, that spirit, that's the one thing that we look for right away in the beginning, because that's what drives the change. And here we're not talking about an ecosystem that is mature and that is, let's say, 50 years old ecosystem. We're talking about a baby ecosystem. The growth of our ecosystem in the region will be huge, and we need to craft it and crystallize it. So we need more belief and more hope to drive that. And we need to inspire from the leaders in the region. When we see Saudi and UAE putting up all those, creating all those new structures, new cities and new industries, that comes from a big belief. And we need to inspire from that, and we need to be up to that level. So, and we need to be ready to test, ready to fail, as I said. The good thing is you can fail 1 and 2 and 3, but you are with an ecosystem. You are with a group of successful companies and people. Failure, if a founder joins and fails, for us, it will be the next successful venture, because that guy learned a new thing that he didn't know. And then we can monetize that in the next venture. It's all about jumping and start creating that wave of change with hope and not fear. Anything driven by fear, it will not last. Anything is driven by hope, you're going to face those odds and you're going to change them, and you're going to grow bigger and bigger until you find yourself. So for me personally, this is not just a business or my next business. I have a mission to inspire people in the region and international partners to work with us, but work with us in a different way, in a way that we empower our people in the region. It's no more a way, just a business way where we trade. You get a margin and we get the product. It's a new way. It's a way now where we work together. We move, we transfer technology, we build talent, we change realities, we build ecosystems together, and we look at that, that next level of economy that is driven by talent and by knowledge, not by anything else.
Absolutely. We're running out of time now. Perhaps I could ask you one last question. Do you have a message for government policymakers around the region? And if you do, what would that be?
Definitely. So from a policy point of view, a lot of things are going well, fast, which is great. That's why we sense the change, and we sense the willingness and the leadership. It's already there. Now we need to even think bigger. We need to put up more in R&D. This is just one thing that I ask for, is we need to put more in R&D. R&D is the security for the future, for the next near future. And in our region, we got infrastructure, we got the young people, population is young, which is a great asset. The skills can be built, but the skills can be built if more R&D is placed. So we need more powering of those R&D projects and pushing over the limits. That will help us in bringing more talents in the region, creating talent in the region, and creating something that lasts, something that make technology. And I say this very, very importantly, we're gonna make technology as a national security in our region, and that cannot reach that without putting more in R&D.
Amine, thank you so much for joining today. It's been really interesting.
Thank you very much for having me.
And I hope we'll bring you back another day. Thank you to everybody who's listening.
You've been listening to a recording of Middle East AI News Live for Thursday, October 26th, 2023, brought to you by Carrington Malin. Thanks for listening.